Welcome back, Mail In Podcast here on a steamy Thursday afternoon in Austin, Texas. To my right, we have the lovely, the one and only, Sally deFries. What is up, Sally?
We're filming this, right?
Yeah, we are.
I don't look great today. I apologize.
You look great. What are you talking about?
My baby
Try that
bangs
again.
You look great. What are you talking about?
I have just the humidity has made all my frizzies out.
Call you Miss Frizzle.
Miss Frizzle.
Magic school bus.
I'm in my
callback,
scrubs. You know, we're coming in hot from the OR, so
which is traditionally cold.
very cold. Actually, it's like such shock to the system because you're in like a OR that's like 60 degrees. And a lot of times when I'm that cold, I'll just go sit in my car for like 2 minutes and just like melt.
You're
Then
like
I get
fucking Randy. He has to walk outside her office to warm up like a lizard.
Yeah, same. But then like I drove here and I'm fine. And then I get to like walk outside to get to the office and it is like 200% humidity, I guess.
Yeah, it is. I'm a big humidity guy. I like the weather. It's a bit of a hobby of mine. Right now, we're looking at a dew point, which is what you gotta, that's a humidity indicator.
Mm-hmm.
Dew point right now is 76.
Yeah.
Anything above 70 pretty much feels like a swamp. Anything above 75 feels like you're in a pool. Like
Yeah.
bad.
Air's thick. But
It is. Yesterday was 78 when we walked out of here on a dew point scale. It was not good. So we're in the peak humidity. But front coming through today. If you're listening to this in the Austin or Dallas area, maybe put your car in the garage tonight. Big hail event coming.
Wow.
They call it gorilla hail.
Okay.
Size of a softball.
Love that.
Do
for
some
us.
damage to your windshield. Sorry, just PSA out there.
All right, big weather over there.
It's me.
How are you doing?
I'm good.
I
I'm
never
good.
ask you.
Yeah, that's okay. I
You
always
ask
chime
me,
in with something.
and then I just talk because I'm more important than you, and then I just like
okay.
totally ignore you.
Right. And then it's just kind of like, okay. I usually chime in with something interesting.
You just add your own stuff because you know I don't care.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just asking to be polite, to be fair.
Okay, wow, really?
I'm kidding. That was a
You were
joke.
Three in
That
a
was a
row right
joke.
there, Randy. Goodness.
I'm doing great too, Sally.
Randy,
No,
how are you doing?
moment's passed. What is the mail-in, Brett?
Oh, we answer questions. Who even cares anymore?
What is life?
Yeah, we just hang out, answer some questions, give you some life advice from people who have or have not done it, and we just kind of chill. We kind of hang out. It's a
Do you
nice little
want to do a
hangout
little
hour.
Q&A right before we start? What's your favorite Tortured Poets Department song right now?
The one where it's like, camera bitch, smile.
Yeah. Hello.
What's
I
that?
could
What's
do it with
that?
a broken heart.
Yeah.
That's mine too.
It's just because it's the catchiest right now. It's got it's
Lights,
the ear
camera,
one.
bitch,
Smile.
smile. Even when you wanna die.
Yep, that's the one. I wasn't particularly like jamming any of the songs on the album, but that one is the one is the most stuck in my craw.
I live lights, camera, bitch, smile. That's just my life. You
Mhm.
know, it's just like
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought it was very tailory, very like had some chill, some
Randy, what's your
dance, some
favorite?
banger.
I couldn't tell you all different ones.
But Daddy, I love him probably.
The only one I can really remember is the one about Kim Kardashian, and I thought it was about
Thank you, Amy.
her high school op. That's what I thought.
Yeah, Randy missed the Kim Kardashian, the very telegraphed, KIM in the title.
Yep. I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. I might need to leave at some point. I'll just leave it on the wide shot.
Bathroom Randy is brewing over there.
Okay.
Thanks for sharing with the world.
Hey, can someone explain to me what a gonster is?
A gonster?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. So a gonster is a mix between a Monster energy drink and a Guinness. And how it appears to be poured is the Monster first and then Guinness on top. I'm not really familiar with the fluid dynamics of Monster and Guinness combined, but appears we need to try it. And your husband volunteered. It's Will deFries.
Why did y'all let him do that?
Well, it's for content. That's just kind of the
it
blanket
looks like
statement.
a heart attack in a cup.
I mean, it's like we drank Celsius all up in here.
I don't know.
What's the ruling on Celsius? My take, which I drink them every day.
Randy's
so
leaving.
Randy's gotta go. Oh boy. My take on Celsius is that they appear to be adding more ingredients by the year, which I'm concerned about. They went
Yeah.
from disclosing their like energy blend,
Mhm.
which is one of the ingredients, and now that appears to be like 40 different things. Little concerned about that.
I'm trying to switch to that mushroom coffee.
Which one? I feel like there's a ton. Mudwater?
Okay.
No free ads?
No free ads. I have tried Mudwater before when I was in CRNA school. I
Mhm.
actually got some packets just because I was like, I'm not about to buy a whole thing of mushroom coffee if I hate it. So I bought
just so we're clear, not like psychedelic mushroom
no.
coffee. Okay.
It's like so I bought the 4 Sigmatic ones.
Okay.
Just a couple of packets from Central Market to see what the vibe was about. One of
Okay.
my friends was saying that Rise is good.
Okay.
I feel very Joe Rogan, Peter Attia for like talking about any of this.
Yeah, we
Huberman
can get into the
coded.
weeds. We can talk sups. We can talk health benefits. I was going to say, you basically, you know how shocking your system is big these days.
Mhm.
Hot plunge, cold saunas. Reverse that.
Mhm.
You basically do that on a daily basis. You shock your system.
That's true.
Cold room, hot
That's
room,
true.
cold room.
No, but I think I every single morning I have an Americano,
Mhm.
a grande Americano iced.
A big one.
And I think it's adding to my anxiety
Yeah, I think there's a pretty
and possibly like tearing my stomach lining apart. So I'm like, I should
Sure.
probably
there's a pretty well studied connection between caffeine and anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Is that kind of especially empty
No,
stomach?
I'm just like I love it. I love the
Yeah.
taste of it. Love
Mhm.
it. Like it's my ritual, but I think I have to stop because I'm getting
Okay.
like just
A little jittery on the
Yeah.
uptake.
yeah.
What's the caffeine content in one of those puppies? We clear on that?
Like 200 milligrams
Okay.
probably.
That's
I don't know,
standard.
maybe more than
That's what
that.
we're working with right here. 200 millis. I've tried one of the energy drinks that will not be named. It's got like 400 in it, and that is a nausea trip, freak out waiting to happen. But so I keep it to 200 or so. per day.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me
I'm
tell
really
you
feeling raw deal.
what the caffeine in here is.
Okay, I'll hold my own over here.
225
Yeah,
milligrams.
okay. That's gonna hit
That's
you.
over
That's-
what their daily recommended intake is, at least for pregnant people, which now that I'm pregnant, but like I'm breastfeeding, I feel like if we're not like letting pregnant people do something, we should probably like my body probably should also not be doing it.
Yeah, I think what's the
Like this is
what's
this
the,
is my thing about not that I believe on everything. Like
Oh, let's get in the weeds. Let's get Rogan-y. Come on.
well, no, but
come
I'm just
on.
saying like
I'll lean back.
obviously we don't let people take Advil while they're pregnant because
Really?
of the risks of miscarriage, but mostly for the fact that it closes a hole in the baby's heart that is necessary for
Oh.
circulation.
Did not know that.
Yes.
Interesting.
Uh,
Okay. There's many things I don't know
so
about
you
pregnancy.
want that open, and ibuprofen can cause that to close.
Got it. Okay.
But also for risk of miscarriage and bleeding and things like that.
Okay.
Okay. But that's like not fucking up with the development of the baby. Whereas caffeine is messing up with the development. So I'm like, but I'm doing a lot of caffeine. Is that messing up with my development or like my brain? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. That's one of those that I'm not going to have any opinion on because whatever I say will
right.
be
But I'm
very
just saying, like, there's like
unresearched.
medical reasons why you don't take certain drugs because they can cause this or
Sure,
that to the baby, but not to you. But like, if we're like, probably in the same vein as like, you shouldn't drink while you're pregnant or smoke because all of those things can fuck with the development of the baby.
Kind
It's
of.
like, well, probably alcohol, not probably, is poison to my brain.
Yeah.
I still do
Can
it.
you breastfeed and drink?
Yes.
Okay. Like it doesn't like pass through.
Yes, it can go through breast milk.
Okay.
Every doctor is different.
Okay.
A lot of my doctor told me if you can drive, you can feed your kid. So like one drink,
Don't
you
get
don't need to like
sloshed
pump and
and
dump.
then
But like
pump and dump.
if you're blackout, you should probably not be feeding your child that breast milk because
Got
they
it.
will be getting some alcohol in it.
Interesting. Remember the old wives' tale of like give your kid a little whiskey finger to make them go
Yeah.
to sleep?
Yeah.
I might have had that growing up. Thanks, mom and dad. Miss you.
Should we answer the questions?
Sure.
Or? Okay.
Let's do it. You want to go? You want to lead off this time?
Sure.
All right,
Okay.
let's do it.
Oh, hold on. Hold on 1 second. Let me turn off my work walkie-talkies so we don't just get like some just
You have
call outs.
There's a walkie-talkie app?
Yeah, it's called Zello.
No way.
Mhm.
I'm on there all day looking at houses.
No, not Zillow. Zello.
Got it.
And you press this little button and then you say whatever your message is
Code-
and then you
code.
let go. Yeah.
I don't know the codes.
There's different channels. You can't get onto ours. Ours is a protected network, but like
Got it.
It works like I mean, obviously, if you're on Wi-Fi, it's working
Yeah.
here, and I'm not near the hospital at all.
Mm.
Okay, let's go back to the question.
Shouts to Zello.
Hey, Brett and Sally. I am a 36-year-old female who got divorced last year and have recently re-entered the dating scene.
The Waff Queen?
My ex and I met when I was 22, so I've been out of the game for a while, 14 years. My question for you is what the heck is considered normal anymore in terms of the whole texting situation, particularly when it comes to online dating / apps? I get wanting to chat a bit before meeting up, sure. But the constant texting before even meeting in person, the unsolicited, pushy, and borderline sexual text after one date, am I taking crazy pills or is this normal now? Am I just attracting the wrong people? Is it that I need to sift through a lot of dudes? I'm worried that I flew too close to the sun with my healing journey because I just don't get it. Maybe I'm old now. Help.
First instinct, I don't think this just applies to like newly divorced people in their mid 30s. This is like everybody right now, I feel like.
I think this is
Not that
everybody.
I'm not on dating apps.
But I think there's a spectrum, or like, let's call it a sliding scale of like what's acceptable when you're 18 to 23
Mhm.
versus like what's acceptable when you're 24 to 29, and then what's acceptable when you're 30 to 35, and then 36. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go age specific here.
There's an age spectrum.
What this behavior, like texting nonstop, sexual texts, etc., to me
Mhm.
is more lack of maturity, sign of
Sure,
immaturity.
yeah.
This is something I would expect texting a college hookup. You know what I'm saying?
Like a where you at Snapchat.
Right. Like when you're 36 and have already been married, you're not that you're dating to marry.
Mhm.
And people do that. If you don't do that, great. If you do it, great. But like, you're just trying to get back out there. But you also are
Yeah.
like not in a situation where like, I think this is just reflective of the type of people that she's dating and maybe what
okay.
their motives are.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I think it does. I think
So
it does.
like high school, college, maybe you're not trying to meet the one. Maybe you're just like, and maybe you are too, but like maybe you're looking for a hookup. Maybe
Getting
you're
some
looking for
reps
like,
in. Yeah.
maybe you're looking for just like the companion part of it, like someone to talk to back and forth.
I know you're always about the companion passes.
Yeah. The other thing is for me, I think wanting like someone to talk to all the time, great. That's why a lot of us date someone and end up with partners is for the companion portion. So texting is like a comfort part of that. But if you're there after like not before even meeting the person,
That's crazy.
I'm like, go on a date. That's where you get to know each other.
Have
You already
to. Yeah.
Now, this all comes with the caveat of like, unless you're me and Will.
Okay. Distance obviously
Unless
is very
you
different.
met online and you don't live in the same state
I'm
and you
thinking
can't go on a date with this person.
Correct.
But if you
I'm like, I did
matched
the same
and you
thing with
both
Caroline
live
back in the
in
day.
New York City and
Mhm.
you can meet in person, I'm like, why are we spending hours and days getting to know each other via text when we're going to meet in person?
Mhm. Yes.
Let's meet in person. And I think that is lost on people now because we meet people online, but you can have a great text rapport with somebody and then meet them in person and be like, oh, nope, this ain't it. Which, to be
Mhm.
fair, is how I felt about Will when we first met.
Ooh, Scandy. Did
Scandy.
you guys FaceTime before you met?
Yes.
That's interesting to me.
Oh, and by the way, I didn't think that Will was wrong for me. It was just, I think at that point we had literally been texting, calling,
Oh my God,
FaceTiming
Randy.
for a month.
Okay.
And meeting him in person was like so like shocking to the system, I think,
Mhm.
that it like freaked me out. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah, yeah.
I know this person, and like now I'm seeing them in real life for the first time ever.
Yeah, you kind of build up, whether it's good or bad, you build up this sort of like image and this thing, and maybe it's not quite the same, but it obviously worked out.
Right. But if given the choice, I mean, obviously it worked out for Will and I, and like
Mhm.
I wouldn't change anything about our story. But if given the choice, I would much rather like meet someone in person and
Yeah.
vibe with them.
Sure.
And to be fair, maybe Will and I worked out because we had all this time where we got to know each other, and then we couldn't like
Mhm.
snap judge each other on
Yeah.
random shit, like whether or
Sure.
not we
Yeah,
liked
yeah.
their shoe choice.
You kind of keep it light via text, via FaceTime. You're not really digging into the
Right.
weeds necessarily.
But I think this behavior is, in my opinion, and this is somebody who's not dating, just a sign of immaturity. Like, for sure, like ask me how my day is, whatever, if
Yeah.
you want. But like, we don't need to go into the weeds about like how your relationship with your sister, and like whether or not like what you would want to name a puppy one day, and et cetera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Save that for the date. Okay.
I agree. I agree. Like if we're firing like good morning smiley faces out
Too much.
prior to meeting or prior to FaceTiming or prior to having any sort of real rapport, if it's like hinge match,
No, that's
had a fun
creepy.
conversation, and then we're shooting good morning the next morning,
No, I don't
I'm
like
probably
that.
staying away from that
Yeah.
myself.
Here's my ideal texting situation pre-date. Okay.
Okay.
You and I match on Hinge.
Okay.
We have a great little rapport going.
Yeah.
It's Monday. We're gonna
Mhm.
meet on Thursday.
Perfect date day.
And then I like message him like, I'm so sorry. Work is insane.
Yeah.
Can we do Friday instead?
Mhm. 'Kay.
Or Wednesday, whatever. Cool. That sounds great.
Yep.
Thursday rolls around. Hey, I know you're so busy with work. Hope everything's going great. Can't wait for tomorrow.
Boom. Yeah.
Boom. That's all you need.
Light one text.
You don't need
Yeah.
like, I obviously know that we don't need to give her the tips. I'm just saying for other people, it's like
Mhm.
you don't need to do like a whole life story. You don't need to creep them out with the good morning, beautifuls. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I am acknowledging the fact that you said you were busy, and I hope everything's cool. Excited to meet you. That's
Yeah.
it. That's all that takes.
Not expecting a carry-on question, conversational piece. Just a
You're
sort
just
of this
like, hey, I thought about you as a person, and I'm saying that to you, and I'm also confirming our date.
yeah, exactly.
That's all that needs.
It's a little check-in with a little confirmation to it. I agree. I think until you're texting, until you meet and figure out there's something there, or you have a FaceTime. Obviously, the distance kind of plays a weird role in this too. But you gotta like, I'm trying to say like, don't play the game of like one text per day, or like
Right.
wait 6 hours
But
or
like,
whatever.
you don't need to be asking someone how their day is going until you have at least met them in person.
Yeah.
If you're
yeah,
living
I
in the same
think-
city.
I think I'm with you on that. Find a way to meet. If things are working out on Hinge and it's fun and like, oh, that like maybe you follow each other on Instagram and you respond to a story. It's like, oh, that like margarita looks super good. Something, whatever that light
Right.
kind of
Banter.
that like you're commenting on things versus like conversating on things.
I just think as a 36-year-old, I would be like, this person is not mature and like
Yeah.
a little desperate.
The borderline sexual texts after one.
What do you think about
date.
that? That was my next.
I truly, I think it depends on the date. I mean,
Depends on the date, and I think it depends on the person.
I mean,
Like,
did we hook up night one? Did we leave it as like a hug? Did we, where are we at in that physical relationship? But also, you have to sort of make your sexual texting kind of known, I guess. You have to go through that because some people are like, oh, I don't do that at all. That's not my thing.
yeah, to me, and maybe this is more old fashioned of me, but like this is after a couple dates. Like, I'm not saying that you have to like wait to sex someone until you've had sex with them, but like if someone was sending me sex like after we've met one time, I'd be like, you are the horniest person ever, and you need to chill the
Too
fuck out.
much. Yeah, that's too much. Too
Like,
much.
Again, I think it totally depends on the nature of the text. You send me a dick pic, like I'm probably running for the hills.
Unsolicited.
But then also like just even like saying
Mhm.
stuff like you're so hot or like can't wait to make out with you tonight. I don't know. I
But
can
there's
I
like,
just say something, Brett? I
Yeah.
know for a fact, hi Nancy, that Will's mom listens to this podcast every day,
hi Nancy.
every week. And so like sometimes when I like want to like say something really crass, I'm like, Nancy listens, and I gotta pull myself back. So I just
Nancy, what's your opinion on
we gotta
sexting
keep
after
some
one date?
things sacred. Uh I think like some just really overt sexual text would freak me out.
Yeah, especially immediately.
Especially immediately.
Especially immediately.
Even if you hooked up on the first date. Because I
That
think
that shouldn't be a pass for
here's why. Because if
sexual
you
text
hooked up on
round
the first
two.
date, you were intimate sexually, but you are not intimate with each other emotionally yet.
Fair.
So until you
Fair.
have been
Very fair.
intimate emotionally with somebody, and whatever that means for you, I don't think that there needs to be sexting happening.
Okay.
Unless
Okay.
it's like clear that you're like, we're just gonna hook up.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
again, to this girl, if someone's sexting me after one date, I'm like, you clearly just want to bone me. You have put me in the to quote Tinks, the hookup box. I'm not in a relationship box. You just want to hook up with me. You don't care about dating me. I
get to know somebody here before you get to know somebody
down there.
there.
I think for this person, I commiserate with you. I hope these are not the norms. I think this, all of this behavior more reminds me of like a 22-year-old dude.
Yeah, I that's what I feel like. Your hinge radius is like 20 to 25 right now.
Yeah, you got to up that age, and then also like, I think you might just be with bad people, because I think always the person that when you're dating them and it's working well, it usually just falls into place. And like, I know that that's the most frustrating advice to ever get, but like shit shouldn't be difficult. You shouldn't be playing games, or even if you are playing games, they're like fun. They're not annoying and like really like anxiety producing. And like, if Will and I were meant to be, and he like sexted me night one, if it was meant to be, in my opinion, or we were gonna like date, then I probably wouldn't have cared. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
When it's the right person, you just don't give a shit.
Which is hard to do when it's like hinge match night 1, date night 4, sext night 6, 7, 8. It's like, nah, that's.
And in my opinion, and when I say like when it's the right one, right person, I'm not saying the one. Like you don't need to get married eventually, but I'm saying like when the chemistry clicks. Even if you're going to date this person for 5 dates, or you're going to date them for 5 months or 5 years, it just works. And that's, if they're giving you red flags now, then that's just part of dating.
True. And you're going to find somebody where the click makes it
worth it.
No, it's sort of almost, timelines sort of go out the window in a way where it's like you stop playing the games because it doesn't matter. You stop worrying about the, like, I don't know, like the pressure to send the, hey, when are we meeting up again? Because it just happens.
But I think the like actual advice to this person, besides just commenting on what the dating scene is like, is like, if this is happening to you and you're getting the ick, like that's your gut being like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like it's probably going to happen a lot.
And when you're as emotionally mature as you are at 36, I feel like that reflex is much quicker.
Yeah.
Than
you know yourself better.
You at 24 or 26 even. Anyway, good luck on your healing journey.
Yeah.
You know what Randy needs right now on his healing journey?
What are you talking about?
Might be a little dehydrated over there. That's some liquid IV. Summer, especially days like today in Austin, Texas, require extraordinary hydration. Summer days require extraordinary hydration, Randy. And that extraordinary hydration should be built for everyday dehydrating moments, maybe like Randy just had. Liquid IV hydrates you with benefits like electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients. With 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, plus 8 vitamins and nutrients in a single stick, it's clear why Liquid IV is the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. Here's what you do. 1 stick in a little stick cylinder kind of thing out of the package, any flavor. I'm a white grape guy. I know you're a Concord grape girl. Randy's a white peach guy. Perhaps some lemon lime sugar free. You can really go all over the place with their flavors. They're all fantastic.
You know, I'm also an immune booster tangerine girl.
Love the immune booster.
I can feel my immunity getting better.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like,
When it's
I'm
happening.
glowing.
It's that tangerine flavor. You know, when you like
Mhm.
are drinking vitamin C and you're like, I know I'm going to be healthier in a
That
second.
citrusy kind of,
Yeah.
it stops things before they start. I don't think we can actually say that in an ad read, but it feels like they do. They're good vibes over there at Liquid IV. Boom, rip the top off the stick, pour it in a beverage of your choice. Mine's water, H2O, dihydrogen monoxide, if you will. Whip it around down the hatch. You don't have to chug it. You can sip it. You can sip on it. Put it in the cup holder in a Yeti going to work. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada
Any
bing, bada
hydration
boom.
can be done with Liquid IV. After a night out, workout, after maybe a tough time to the bathroom if you're Randy. Liquid IV is there for you. So here's the deal. Turn your ordinary water into extraordinary hydration with Liquid IV and get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV. When you go to liquidiv.com and use code MAILIN at checkout, that's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MAILIN at liquidiv.com. Next one?
Yeah.
Oh,
All
my
you.
turn. My turn. What's up, guys? In my late 20s, and I've had plenty of failed relationships for various reasons, the last of which was because of previous trauma from one of their past relationships that was triggered more recently. Each failed one begins to sting a little bit more, though, especially as I watch family and friends meet people seemingly effortlessly that they click with and form long-lasting, genuine relationships. I'm ready for something serious and to build a life with someone. So I guess my question is twofold. How do I go about actually finding that? And maybe more importantly, how do I find the strength to keep opening up and putting myself out there when it feels like people treat relationships as disposable and easily replaceable these days? It's an exhausting cycle. Starting something, opening up, having someone become part of your life only for them to vanish just as quickly. Kind of ties into what we just talked about.
Yeah.
That I feel like, much like jobs, much like dating, much like it's soup du jour. It's like people are going in and out of these things genuinely because there are more options. It is easier to play the field, so to speak. And
Mhm.
so these reflexes of instant gratification that we're so accustomed to, these little dopamine hits of scrolling Instagram and TikTok all day, apply to the dating world and apply to the career world and apply to the food world. It's like, it's just that quick. And so the decisions are made more quickly, but people still have this like natural instinct to, oh, I'm going to stick it out for 3 or 4 dates or 3 or 4 weeks and see, even though they might know immediately this is right or wrong.
Right.
And so that's why I feel like you have the feeling that relationships are um, treated as disposable, as in a way they have become that because of the way the dating scene operates nowadays.
Mhm.
And two, how do you go about finding one there's really no right answer to that.
Yeah.
It is online. It is friends of friends. It is work. It is hobbies. Like you have to, I guess the easiest way to do it is get around like-minded or values wise or physical fun wise things. The more you're around people like you, the better chance you're going to attract someone like you.
Mhm.
And there are again too many options for that these days. And I think you just kind of you keep going. You learn more about yourself. It's like every relationship you have, whether it's failed or great or good for a while, then fails, or bad for a while, then gets great. You're going to learn something about yourself and about your
Right.
emotional stability and about your emotional intelligence and about how you treat your partner. So what I'd say is every time you go into one of these relationships and fail or succeed or whatever, you learn how to better treat your partner.
Yeah.
And I think in doing so, the more relationships you end up having, the more you know about yourself, the more you know about why things fail, why things work, the better you're going to be at it. And it's almost like a double-edged sword because the better you are at it, sometimes you're with a person that it might not be right, but longer
Right.
because you're emotionally mature enough to be like, oh, I can kind of diagnose this, point out the flaws, but I'm good enough to overcome them through communication or physical attraction or whatever conversationalists you might be. So it's kind of like, well, you don't want to get too good at it, but
Yeah.
it's trying to find it is probably the worst way to look at it and worst way to go about it. searching for it, dating somebody with the intent to marry them right off the bat is not the right way to go about it with my advice on it, because you got to get to know people. And so the more you think of it as this date's going to be my wife, it's great if it is, or my husband, it's great if it is, but going in with that mindset only sets you up for failure 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there.
Mhm.
Here's some takes I have. First of all, this is like a well-written question that I think is a little too generic to like give a
Sure.
really thought out answer
How do
to,
I meet somebody?
because I think there's a couple things here that to me stick out. She said she's had, I'm saying she. I don't know if this is a male or female.
It could be either.
I'm going to go she.
Okay.
She said she has had plenty of failed relationships. Last one from previous trauma from their past relationship.
Right.
I don't know what that entails, but I think when you're aware of trauma and how it affects you and what it's carrying into the relationship, I think this is, to me, the biggest flag of like, go to therapy.
There you go. Yeah.
I think a lot of, I mean, that's always my canned answer. Y'all know I love a therapist around here, but I think when you are in this part of your life, late 20s, and you're watching all your friends get married and have babies and seemingly be effortless, there's a lot to learn about yourself still, even though you feel like you've probably been doing this for 10 plus years.
Mhm.
Like, say you've been dating since you were 18, probably earlier than that. You've been at it for 10 years. And you think you've been through the ringer and you know yourself, but I think it's worth reflecting on why relationships fail, and not that they're your fault, but it's worth noting, like, without knowing what the previous trauma is like,
Mhm.
do you have a hard time trusting people? Do you have a hard time, like, do you keep walls up
Mhm.
and don't let people in? Do you trust people too easily and then they burn you? Like, I think that some introspection is important for everyone, and the quickest, easiest, most efficient way for me to say to do that is to go to some one-on-one therapy.
Yeah.
Now, not everyone needs that. I am such a proponent of it because it taught me so much about myself, but I think I look back on that now and I think about all the lessons I learned, and I spent all this time doing it, whereas had I had a therapist, I probably would have gotten to those conclusions quicker. I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020. That's my tip number 1. Number 2 is the same thing I said earlier. When it happens and it's effortless for a reason. Like, when it works with people, and usually like they're the one, and the one you want to date or be in a long-term relationship with or marry or whatever, like, how many times have we listened to people like tell that story and been like, it just clicked?
Mhm.
And that's not everyone's story, but maybe you spent 5 months pushing and pulling or being long distance or whatever, but then you just kind of like let go of all of that. There's like a
Mhm.
reason why those relationships are successful, and it's because people are in the same um emotional point, like readiness, etc., at the same time
Mhm.
to be in a relationship.
Right. Totally.
That's very important. So when it looks effortless, I hate to say that, it's probably because it is.
Mhm.
And there's no way to go find that. It I know that's a really frustrating thing to say, but it kind of just happens to you
You can put yourself
in
in
situations to make it
situations.
more likely to happen.
Yeah. Don't go running down. Don't go to the bar and be like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, what's like?" Just
And
searching desperately
we
for
have
a
talked about
companion.
this before too, that I said that I had guy friends who reached this age and like
Mhm.
all of a sudden decided like, I have to get married, whatever, and then they just reeked of desperation because
Right.
they were like,
Yeah.
when you like decide like, I need to be in a relationship, you're not like, what's your motivation for being in a relationship? Like, you want the companionship, you want to start a family, blah
Mhm.
blah blah, all those things. Like, your late 20s, you have time. If like a family is really important to you, that's great, but like, I'm not saying that you need to go out and like pop a kid out right now. Like, maybe if you need companionship, or like think about what your motivation for being in a relationship is, and then maybe see how you can fulfill those needs by yourself. So if it's companionship, like how are your friends filling that cup?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's like um security, like what can you be doing to like be secure for yourself? I just think like your 20s are so meant to spend time getting to know yourself, and a lot of people miss out on that because they're in relationships. And I
Totally.
I think
Yeah.
I can say this pretty confidently because in my 20s, I didn't really meet or start dating Will till my late 20s, and I had at that point watched a bunch of my friends date, marry, start having kids, and kept thinking the same thing, like, why is this not happening for me?
Mm-hmm.
And it really was when I like slowed down and stopped like trying to force it to happen, that it happened.
Yeah.
Now, all
Totally.
that being said, like you said, the more that you become emotionally mature and like can reflect on reasons why your relationships failed, the older you get, the quicker you are, like the 36-year-old
Mm-hmm.
divorcee, at judging when someone's wrong for you.
Totally. Yeah.
So also, I wouldn't think of relationships endings as failures. Like
No,
you
it's something
said,
to learn.
they're opportunities to learn. Like
Mm-hmm.
just because you didn't make it work with Joe, who you went on 5 dates with, there's a reason why you're not with him.
Totally.
Like maybe he had totally different values than you. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
he whatever. But the better that you know yourself and the more experiences that you have, the quicker you get at making a judgment of like, I don't want to be with this person.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that reflects like your, like emotional maturity even more, because you're able to like see a situation and be like, I 5 years ago would have stayed with this guy that had red flags, but I am gonna go ahead and break things off after a month because he's already giving me signs of like being controlling or jealous or whatever.
Totally. Yeah.
So those are like, I would say, the big caveats. The other thing is, every person who's been in this position, and granted, I went through this like I was in this position like 8 years ago, but like when it's happening to you,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like it's like always the grass is greener, but you don't know what other people are going through. And also, like, you're probably seeing it from social media,
Mm-hmm.
which we know is a highlight reel, or your friends. Like late 20s, let me just say, as a woman, you're not going out there being like, my husband is such a prick right now. Like, we are having trouble with this. We are doing this. When you've been married for a while and you have kids, that's when the real shit starts. And you like talk to your friends about your sex life, what your husband does that pisses you off, like what your emotional like state is that day, what your insecurities are, blah, blah, blah. Late 20s, you're not talking about that. Okay. You're bragging to everyone about how perfect your Italian honeymoon was, and
Mm-hmm.
like the fact that he picked out the engagement ring you wanted, and da da da. No one's being vulnerable with each other. Okay. I think that's so important to remember. It's the same, like we've talked about this too. Like when you're in college for the first time, everyone like looks like they know their shit and they all know each other and they're popular, and really you're all just insecure and like being alone. Same thing when you get out of college, same thing when you first start getting married. Like people are going through hardships, they're just not sharing it with you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know.
Yeah.
Because unless they're your like best friend or your sister, and even then there's like shit going on behind closed doors that you have no idea. So it's so important to remember to stop comparing yourself to other people, because when it looks effortless, for me, was fucking years of like
Yeah.
self-loathing and
Learning
like
and failing and
learning
up and down and
and
this and that. Yeah.
like embarrassing myself and whatever. But
Totally.
maybe that's not what I project, or maybe it is what I project. Probably people are like, she's a shit show. But like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This
Totally.
is so hard to quantify, but I think this encompasses what so many people go through in their late 20s.
Totally. Totally. It's this combination of people's lives at different speeds and different choices people make and different responsibility tolerance and frankly being mature emotionally,
Mhm.
physically, mentally, financially, like all there it's a recipe with 50 different ingredients. And the only thing I could think about while I read this question, I was like, low and slow,
Yeah.
slow. Make a brisket. Just don't put a marshmallow on the fire, let it burn, hot, fast, boom, gonna taste all
Yeah.
right, and then it's done. Low and slow.
Yeah.
Just ease into things, and don't force yourself into situations, and
Go to therapy.
go to therapy. Next one, Sal.
Hi, Brett and Sally. Want to say I'm such a fan. Whenever I feel like I'm in a weird situation, I often find myself thinking, okay, this is probably how Sally would handle this, and this is how Brett would handle this. So thank you. This is geared more towards Sally, but appreciate your input, Brett. I recently returned to work after a 6-month maternity leave. After some bumps and ironing out some childcare issues, I feel so great and energized about my job. However, I'm really struggling to balance my personal life. I relieve my nanny around 5 p.m. I work sometimes after my baby goes to bed and play with my baby until 7-ish. By the time that rolls around, I am spent. My husband is in residency and unfortunately cannot be relied upon always to share responsibilities. I have outsourced as much as I can, housekeepers, grocery delivery, Amazon subscriptions, but I'm feeling like I have zero time for myself and no social life. I feel so guilty, feeling so fulfilled at work and love the quality time with my baby, but I feel like I have lost myself. I'm not looking to revert to my fancy free days, but I need something to make my life feel a little bit more balanced. I would love your tips from your own experience, maybe what your mom friends do too. Would also love any tips for keeping your baby entertained too while accomplishing some household responsibilities so that my free time is not just more work. And before anyone comes after my husband, we are in the final stretch of this 6-year residency, and he's amazing. He's an incredible cook, leans in 120% when he can. He's very encouraging and outsourcing everything to make my life easier and making plans with my friends. It's just the kind of situation where he doesn't always know if he's coming home at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. Okay.
This just kind of feels like life.
You're going to hear a lot of my voice this episode. I am sorry I'm talking so much. Okay. Here's the thing. First of all, this is a phase. Okay. Baby's like 6 or 7 months old, probably the same age Charlie is. And on top of that, your husband's in a medical residency. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That phase of life sucks and it is going to get better. But at the same time, there's always, anytime anybody's in an unpredictable job like this, medicine, maybe they're a pilot, maybe like anytime you don't work a 9 to 5 hour job, there are always caveats with that. And it's always important to know that like there are going to be times when it works really great for you, like when he's home at 2, and then there are going to be times when it really fucking sucks. And you will always live with that because of what the nature of his job. Make peace with it now and be okay with the fact that that exists. And also know that a lot of people have really untraditional 9 to 5 jobs. You're talking to one of them. Okay. Cause like we literally walking in, Dave asked me if we were doing something. I'm like, he's like, Will can't do that. Right. Cause you're out of town. I'm like, no, I'm on call. So it's just, that exists for us all the time. And that's just become our norm. That's okay. So awesome that your husband is like very present when he can be. And because he's at work, like the people who work non-traditional jobs should also not feel guilty for like not being present when they can't be, because they're also providing income and working and showing their child how like a hard day's work is. Anyway, that's a soapbox I'll get on later. Being a mom is so insanely hard. Happy Mother's Day to everyone as you're listening to this.
Happy Mother's Day to all the
Thank
moms
you.
out there. And you, Sally.
Thanks.
And you, Nancy.
It gets, happy Mother's Day, Nancy. It gets easier. It gets easier and tougher. Okay. It like, I don't know how to explain it. Infancy, when the kid's a newborn or really young, it sucks. It's hard. They're difficult. You're tired. But like every stage gets easier in some ways and harder in other ways. Right. Like my sister who has a teenage daughter, like her kids totally fend for themselves. She doesn't have to do anything for them besides like drive them places, but like her kid's a teenage girl. So like,
yeah. Oh, it's a whole other bag of
it's a whole different
can of
situation
worms,
emotionally at their household. Again, please, 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 if you're feeling this way because you are watching friends of yours that have babies go on trips or like be at brunch or go out all the time, that's their life. That's not yours. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. Please turn off social media and stop comparing yourself to other people. But
preach.
But it's so easy to get lost in the like, your job right now is so mother centric. You are literally providing life for somebody because they are completely dependent on you. They cannot feed themselves. They cannot go to the bathroom by themselves. You are doing all of their basic needs.
Mhm.
You need to give yourself some time, and you need to not feel guilty for taking that time. That was like a huge thing when I first had Fritz, is that I got anxiety leaving him. I didn't want to have babysitters because I felt bad about missing bedtime. And I didn't want to like leave the house because I didn't want to like miss out on whatever he was doing.
Mhm.
I was scared to leave Will alone, like all of those things. So here's my tips. Number one, you cannot be a good parent if you are not rested, recovered, mentally present.
Yeah. Headspace, the whole nine.
I
right?
mean, in general, you can't be a good human if you
True,
are
yes.
not like
Yeah.
in a good place emotionally, physically, mentally.
Mhm.
So this applies to everyone, even not mothers. But like if you are reaching burnout, whether it's at work or in a relationship or with your kids, you need to take care of you first.
Mhm.
And as much as like guilt, like I'm thinking about work right now. Like if you are going and have too much on your plate, you're not going to be your 100% self because you have left nothing.
Mhm.
You have I'm using a lot of metaphors here. Your gas tank is on empty and you have nothing left to give. You've got to step back, not feel guilty, and take the time for you. All that being said, it sounds like you have the resources to quote outsource some other stuff. Get a babysitter
Mhm.
and
Mm.
have her come over and do a fucking overnight. Sorry for cussing so much this episode. Do an overnight. Go to the spa. Like, go out with friends.
I was gonna say, it sounds like her social battery
Yeah.
needs recharging, and she does that by going out. Not like going out, but like
But like
going
having
to get
dinner with a friend.
going to get dinner, going to get a drink. I mean,
This
going
was
to get
such a hard balance for me in the beginning because you're just tired. Like maybe you just want to go sleep. You're like,
Yeah.
I need to keep up with our friends. If you ask my friend group right now, who all had children probably a few years ago when they were really young, like a few years ago when all of our kids were babies, none of us talked to each other. Okay. We would see each other like once a month for
Mhm.
somebody's birthday dinner and be like, haven't spoken to you in a full month. And that's okay because no one judged each other for it. We were just like, we're all just doing our own shit and living our lives and like keeping up the best we can.
Yeah.
So don't feel guilty about that either. Most of your friends hopefully understand what you're going through, but like if you have the means to do it, get a babysitter. This is something that has like become very more prevalent in Will's and I's lives since we had Charlie, is like don't let it come to the point where you're like, we have to have a date night. We haven't had a date night in a month. We've got to go. Get a consistent person. They come
Mhm.
every
Yep.
Thursday.
Yeah, consistency and planning, I feel like
Right.
is big here.
Right now, your husband's in residency. Get a babysitter every Thursday. Guess what? Like have your nanny stay late one day. And you know what you get to do? You get to go have happy hour.
Mhm.
Okay. Or if your husband's off work, y'all get to go have a date.
Sure.
It might feel shitty not putting your kid to bed. Okay. But guess what? She does not remember it because they don't make memories yet. And
Mhm.
you know what they do remember is like the time and the weekend when you're playing with them and you're present and you're not like trying to sleep or being on your phone or whatever.
Mhm.
Like taking the time for you allows yourself to be present with your kids.
Totally. Totally.
So right now, while your husband's in residency, like take the time for you, go have a day off when he's post call or something, and he can like sleep with the kid. As far as like having a baby and like getting shit done, get mine's called like a skip hop, like we call it his DJ booth, but it's the little thing you sit them in with the activity booth.
Basically just like human guardrails, right? For everything around that,
Yeah.
that where he can't
Whatever
escape.
activity is that they love, if they can crawl, stick them in like, no one calls these playpens anymore, but like a gated situation. Guarantee you don't have to be in your baby's face, like entertaining them 24/7. They can lay on the ground with toys around them and they will be fine.
Yeah.
If they're crying, go attend to them. But like Charlie straight up entertains himself.
He's
okay?
good. Yeah, I think in my experience, it feels like people are like, oh, I gotta stimulation. Like my baby has to be
Mhm.
Picasso already. It's like
No.
dirt works, grass works.
Like part of them is not dirt, but okay. Part
Sorry.
of them is like
Sorry.
exploring the world
Padded
for
area,
themselves.
yeah.
So like that's what we do with Charlie. Like we put him in his little skip hop thing. We put him on the ground on a play mat. We like let him do his thing.
Yeah.
Guess what, parents? If you have a kid who will watch TV, maybe it's letting them watch a show for 30 minutes so you can get shit done. And
Mhm.
I ain't gonna feel guilty about it because guess what? Mommy needs to have some coffee in the morning
Yeah.
and to do the dishes that we left in the sink the night before. And I'm not gonna feel guilty about my son watching Cocomelon, besides the fact that Cocomelon blows. But
Whoa. Shots fired.
Cocomelon is the worst.
So the Freeze household hates Cocomelon.
Really?
God, I hate it. It's like all these kids on acid, essentially. Oh my God, it's so bright and the songs suck, but
Wow.
it's baby crack. I mean, Fritz loves it.
Babies love it.
It's the worst. So I'm like, are you sure you don't want to watch Moana for the 17th time? Because like, I will take Moana any day over stupid ass JJ.
Okay.
God, he's the worst. Anyway, I'm sorry you're going through this. This is a phase of life. It's okay. Everyone else is going through it. You will get through it too. Make some time for yourself. Prioritize you. Do not feel guilty about leaving your kid because they won't remember. And also they will appreciate you more when you're
Recharged,
mentally
rested,
okay.
and ready to go. Plan stuff would be my one contribution to that. Put it on the calendar, stick to it. Hey, Brett and Sally. I started a new role about 6 months ago after being laid off from my previous company. When I accepted the new job, I was pretty desperate, and I was down to take anything. Well, the company just posted an internal sales role that I would prefer to the one I interviewed for and accepted. I want to apply for the other role as it would be a pay increase and in a field that I have experience in. However, I don't know if it's too soon to try and move teams. In my interview, I told my now boss I was happy to switch fields and did not want to be in sales anymore, but I miss it. I guess I cut off the last part of the question, but I think we got the gist of
you miss it. You cut off it.
it. There might have been more, but the gist
Sure.
is that, and we can. I think we can do this one fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Apply for the role. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you're not betraying anybody. You know, you're still going to be contributing to this company. Maybe you're sort of telling your new boss, hey, I actually missed the role that I was in. I think I'm better at this. Here's why I'm more qualified.
Yeah.
I can perform better. It's better for you in the long run. It's better for me in the long run. I don't think you should have any, hesitation or reservations about.
And a
applying
company
for a
that
job.
doesn't want to keep you around doing something that you already did and something you like more and
Yeah.
are better at is not probably a company that you want to be at. But I
Totally.
also think most people are like, it's an internal role. So like they want to hire within.
Yeah, right. Your onboarding, your training is all
Done.
done much easier. Yeah, they'll be like, "Oh, fuck yeah, we'll take
Yeah.
this person," and you get a pay raise on top of that.
I
No,
mean, I think probably the most cordial thing to do is to like go to your boss and say
course,
like, hey,
yeah.
I'm going to apply for this role. This is how I'm feeling. Like, I really miss the sales stuff I've found in the last 6 months. Like, enjoyed this team so much, but
happy to train my replacement. Like I'm
Right,
still
but
gonna be on the laptop. Like,
well, and you may not get it. Hopefully you do.
Yeah,
But
true.
I think being honest with your boss and be like, I really enjoy this team. I find myself missing sales. I just want to I want to let you know.
yeah, totally. Then and it's not like you've been on the job for 6 weeks. 6 months is
Enough time
a
for you
good
to
chunk of time.
to know yourself. You're not 2
Yeah.
weeks in being like, actually, I like sales and I hate Karen. So
Then you're right. Then you're like, okay, that's shitty. But 6 months is plenty of time. I think. I'm not saying immediately get out and go for it, but if you're leaning that way, it sounds like your mind's sort of made up. I don't think there's any reason not to.
this isn't like unacceptable in my opinion.
Oh,
Wow, we really lengthened the other ones. We're gonna just crush threes. This one is easy. Here we go.
Okay.
I'm going to be at my friend's wedding in mid-November, 6 months from now. She hasn't given any details to her bridal party on what dresses, shoes, etc. we need to wear. I'm having secondhand anxiety for her planning this wedding in less than 12 months from when they got engaged. I want to ask, but don't want to be overbearing or out of line. What do I do?
out of bearing over the line.
Yeah.
Does this feel like the bride's having hesitation?
No.
Okay.
I just think
I'm
she
just
hasn't
trying
gotten
to stir
into
the
it
pot a
yet.
little bit.
So here's what you say. Hey, Ashley, anything I can do to help? Like, would love to help plan the bachelorette, blah, blah, blah. By the way, bored at work, perusing wedding dresses. Like, what are you thinking for bridesmaids? You thinking we're going to you got color scheme yet? We all picking our own? What's your thoughts?
Yeah. Really approach it from hey, Hey, I got some time.
Yeah.
I'm on Pinterest. I'm scrolling. I'm
I
on the
mean,
reels.
literally, like this was me every friend's wedding. I'm like, hey, I'm on Revolve for like on like page 87 of dresses. Like, you got a
What you
vision for
got?
me?
Even give me one characteristic. We're going lilac. Let's go lilac. Let's jump in.
And guess what? If you're overbearing, there's other people who are way more overbearing than you. Her mom. So you asking what bridesmaid's dress you're wearing is nothing.
is an easy one to check off on her box of like the tasks that get overwhelming, and she's like, I
And
don't want to do it.
honestly, you can be like happy to like help disseminate information to the other bridesmaids if you need.
Okay, 6 months that's doable, right? To get
Yeah.
dress alteration.
Usually around
from
the 6-month mark is when people are like, here's what I'm looking
you
for.
want to get to stepping, if you
Because
will.
they like probably picked a color scheme, stuff
Mhm.
like that. She probably has a vision of like what she wants. So be like, hey, you think we're gonna pick our own? What are your thoughts? Would love to run some
Yeah,
stuff by
don't
you.
come at it from like a, hey, I need this now.
Yeah.
Come at it from a, just perusing. What do you think? We have
Yeah.
we have a direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be overbearing.
She needs a
And
wedding
she'll
date.
ignore you if you are.
She needs a
So
wedding date. Our boy Randy was big wedding date guy.
wow.
The Wedding Date, a rom-com by Brett and Randy and Sally.
We doing the last one?
Let's do it. Hi, Brett and Sally. My fiance and I are just getting started in the wedding planning process. I wonder if these guys are related. And are having a hard time with limiting the guest count. We're trying to get down to about 50. Specifically, there are friends I've been bridesmaids for in the past that I'm considering excluding since I have other friends that I'm now closer with, but I feel really guilty. Sally, did you run into this issue since you had a smaller wedding? Also, what are your thoughts on having a wedding reception without dancing? For example, if it's held at a restaurant.
We did that. We had it at a restaurant and did not have dancing.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you had trouble limiting the guest list.
Well, we did have a lot of trouble limiting the guest list.
Brett, you get that invite?
I did get the wedding night FaceTime though,
The
so
wedding
that
night
was enough.
FaceTime.
That was enough for me.
Okay. We've been to weddings, restaurant.
I love a good restaurant reception.
Yeah.
Love it.
Mingle.
Mingling,
drinks.
past apps forever.
Although to be fair, we had friends who did a restaurant reception
Mhm.
because they got married the year before in Tasmania, and then they had a party in New York, and they had a DJ, and we just like danced, and it was actually really fun.
Totally.
He just like once like the dinner was done,
Mhm.
he kind of amped up the music, which I think is fun. You don't have to like have a full blown dance floor. Just like be like, hey, you can start hitting the hard tunes and the volume at like 10 p.m.
Totally.
and people will just
Totally.
dance if they want. But you don't at a restaurant like you can totally not have a first dance or a cake or whatever. You can ditch that,
Or you can do a mix of
or you
both.
can do all
Yeah.
of it. We did a cake. I think
Uh-huh.
I guess we cut it. I truly don't even think we have pictures of it. We did do a cake, and we did toast, but we did not do dancing. And like,
Perfect.
had I been honestly, had we been able to add the dancing, probably would have. But like, do I regret it? Not really.
Yeah.
It was fine.
You had the aux cord going, and you're good.
Do add the elements you want.
Yes. You don't need anything. Make it about you.
Yeah.
And if you want to go out after, like we did, like Caroline's sister did like a restaurant wedding, restaurant reception, and we went out dancing at like a bar afterwards.
Exactly.
It was a blast.
That's what we
Yeah.
did. Like we went out and partied.
Boom.
As far as the guest list goes, my advice is I would try to keep it. Okay, first of all, if you've been in someone's wedding, you do not owe them an invitation to your wedding.
Right. I understand
I get it.
the mental equation here, but it is not it's a want more than a need.
Here's the
Am I
thing.
right there?
There are people, I've been a bridesmaid a lot, but there are people that I've been in their weddings that I legitimately don't even talk to anymore. And not out of like, I don't like them. It's like,
Life.
we just like were friends in that moment. And then like, actually some of these people are already divorced. So like, but anyway, okay. I'm just saying especially when you were bridesmaids, like for people that were like, your like high school best friend or actually most people are still friends with their high school best friend, but like maybe like a
maybe a
work
sorority
friend
sister?
or a sorority sister that
Yeah.
you're not like, you were really close with in college, but then like life happened and you moved across the country and you're not friends with them anymore. Like they're not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe she didn't invite me to the wedding. And if they are like, okay, is that it? Here's what I'll say about the guest list. There are 5 people that we did not invite
Okay.
that we still see daily or monthly that I regret not inviting. Brett, you are number 1. On
Let's
that
go. Thank you. That means the world.
that had I known that I like at the time, like
I'd known you guys for like 4 months. It's not like, it's not,
and had I known how like these people would still be in my lives, I would have like made do. That being said, every single person that I had at my wedding, I still very much talk to, and that feels good. Part of the reason I think for the advice that I gave is if you can delineate like groups, that makes it easier. So what we did, and granted, I invited everyone, not Will, which is partially why I didn't invite you, Brett, because Brett would have probably been, or Will would have been like, we had to invite Brett. I invited Will's best friends from home, high school, growing up, and their spouses. I invited my best friends from college who I was closer to. I'm friends with my friends from high school, but I really honestly like my core group of friends is like my college best friends.
Right.
So it was very easy. Like I cut it off. And there are friends that I have that were friends post college that I was like, they'll understand. And it was a clear, like, I invited this group of girls and their spouses, significant others, etc. And there was no one like left out. And I just kind of kept it like that. I was like, I'm not going to invite anybody from work. I'm not going to invite anybody from whatever.
Yeah. You had your groups. So
it made it easier versus like, okay, well, I invited this person from work, and then I invited this person from the sorority, and then I invited like these 3 people who are friends with me in New York post college, and then like my 3 sorority sisters, my 2 friends from high school. If you can like group people together, it makes it seem more logical when people are like questioning.
Totally.
That being said,
it's also your wedding.
It's also your wedding. The people that I regret not inviting have never, like you and I talk about it, but that didn't keep us from having a relationship after, if that makes sense.
That's fair. Yeah.
There are people that I'm like, I wish that they would have been there, but at the same time, like I still have a friendship with them regardless. And we have like the people who are going to support you whether or not they're at your wedding, and they'll continue to be your friends. People who give a shit about stuff like that need to probably grow up.
Chill out. Yeah. And to be honest with you, if you haven't seen them in a long time, they're probably like, oh, good, I don't have to spend $1,100.
When it's 50 people, it's like, it's different when you're like, you don't invite someone you're close to and you had straight up 300 people at your wedding because somebody's like, that's an interesting choice.
You guys
but like,
had a festival.
When it's 50 people are like, people I get it. Like they had a small wedding. Like I didn't make the cut. Well, let's move on.
As long as I get to buy you a drink on your bachelorette party and I get to go on Will's bachelor party, whenever that may be.
I probably wouldn't wear like 50.
That's going to do it for us today, Sally. That was a good time. A lot of good stuff there. Thanks, Randy, for your...
Hey, glad I could help today.
Glad you were here for part of it.
That's going to do it for us. Please subscribe, rate 5 stars, review it, tell a friend about the show. No, what's you're in Vegas next week.
Yeah.
Right? If we record on Tuesday next week, you'll have Sally deFries.
Yeah.
If not,
there's a chance we might not. So
if not, we'll there's surprise guest.
Surprise guest.
Anyway, where can the people find you, Sal?
Sally deFries. Figure it out.
Instagram, Twitter,
I don't have a
TikTok, any social media. Sally deFries on LinkedIn, perhaps.
I don't have LinkedIn.
Connect. Oh,
sorry.
Bummer. I'm Brett Merriman at Schmerriman on pretty much every platform you can find. That's Randy Trimbacki on the 1s and 2s. The number 2s. Ha. See you guys next week.
Bye.